You've probably noticed it too. Every time you search for a projector online, it's the same story. 4K support, 10,000 lumens, built-in Android, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cinema-grade quality. And somehow, all that technology supposedly fits inside a tiny plastic box that costs less than a dinner. It looks perfect, it sounds perfect, until you switch it on. That's when the illusion breaks. Because what most projector companies are selling isn't performance, it's belief. Belief that brighter numbers mean brighter images. Belief that Android automatically means smart. Belief that supported resolution means true HD. But once you understand how these words are used, you start seeing the pattern. And the pattern is the scam. Here's how it works. They start with brightness. You'll see 10,000 lumens, 12,000 lumens, sometimes even 20,000. Those aren't real numbers. They're called marketing lumens, invented units with no standard, designed to look impressive. The real measure is ANSI lumens, and most of these projectors barely reach 150 to 200. That's enough for a pitch-dark room, not a living room. Turn on a lamp, and your big cinematic experience fades into a faint blur. It's like painting sunlight on a wall and calling it a window. Then comes the resolution trick. Full HD 1080p supported. That single word, supported, changes everything. It means the projector can receive a 1080p signal, but it doesn't actually show it. It scales it down to a smaller, softer panel. You think you're watching HD, but what you're really seeing is an illusion stretched to fit your expectation. It's like streaming a 4K video on a 720p phone and convincing yourself it's the same thing. And then there's Android. The word alone sells. You picture Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, all working smoothly. But most of these so-called Android projectors run versions from years ago, Android 6, 7, maybe 8, with a single gigabyte of RAM. It's technically Android, yes, but using it feels like scrolling Instagram on a phone from 2014. Apps crash, updates don't exist, and that built-in Netflix app? Half the time it loads a mobile version that can't even stream in HD. You can't fix it, because the system itself isn't certified. At that point, it's not anger, it's quiet disappointment. You realize this product wasn't built to last, it was built to sell, and that's the real scam. Not fraud, just design. Here's the irony. Many of these projectors aren't even made by different companies. They come from the same factories, the same hardware, reboxed under 50 different names. Change the sticker, copy the specs, ship it again. One machine becomes 50 brands. That's why they all look alike, because they are. But this video isn't about pointing fingers. It's about understanding how to see through the illusion. Because once you learn what to look for, you'll never be fooled by fake numbers again. Start with brightness. If a product doesn't mention ANSI lumens, walk away. Real brightness is always measured in ANSI. Next, look at resolution. If it says supports 1080p, it's not native 1080. Ask for native resolution. Third, check the Android version. Anything before Android 10 is already obsolete. It can't run half the modern apps properly. And finally, pay attention to power consumption. A real 10,000 lumen projector would need around 100 watts or more. If it says 50 watts, those lumens are fiction. You can't cheat physics. The sad part is, the entire industry has learned that exaggeration sells. It's not just small brands. Even mid-range ones play the same numbers game, just with cleaner websites. They don't need better projectors. They just need the next buyer before the first one complains. They're not selling technology, they're selling time. And that's why honesty feels so rare. Because the moment you find a device that simply works, it feels revolutionary. It feels like peace. Every once in a while, something comes along that's built differently, not to impress, but to last. The SimplifyTech CineX mini projector was designed with that thought. It doesn't try to look powerful on paper, it tries to stay honest in use. No fake lumens, no recycled Android, no half-truths, just balanced engineering that does exactly what it claims. It runs Android 11, fast, stable, and actually usable. Netflix, Prime Video, and YouTube run natively, right out of the box. No Fire Stick, no cables. It supports Wi-Fi 6 for smooth streaming and Bluetooth 5 for instant audio pairing. And when you set it down, it automatically straightens your image through auto keystone correction. Simple, quiet, reliable. It's bright enough to watch comfortably with a light on, small enough to fit anywhere, and quiet enough to disappear into the background. It's not pretending to be a theater system. It's a projector for real life, the kind that just works when you need it. That's what honesty looks like in tech. Not perfection, just reliability. Because the real issue isn't that projectors are cheap, it's that companies have made lying normal. They've made exaggeration a marketing feature. But light doesn't care about marketing. Light doesn't lie. You can fake numbers, you can't fake brightness. Maybe that's the bigger lesson here. We've built a world where specs matter more than sense, where the louder claim wins the sale, even if the truth loses the customer. But there's a quiet rebellion happening. People are starting to care about honesty again, and products like the Cine X are part of that shift. Not because they're flashy, but because they're genuine. You don't need 20,000 lumens. You don't need fake 4K. You need something that does what it says when you turn it on. That's real innovation, not bigger numbers, but fewer lies. So next time you scroll past another ad shouting 10,000 lumens and smart 4K for $79, pause for a second. Ask yourself one simple question. Do I want numbers or do I want truth? Because in the end, that's the only spec that matters. We live in a world obsessed with brightness. But the funny thing about light is, you can't fake it forever. The moment you turn it on, it tells the truth. The Simplify Tech Cine X mini projector. Small, sincere, and proof that real light doesn't need to shout.